I trust that if you are clicking on this video today, it's because this message was meant to find you. And I really believe that with my whole heart. You are where you're meant to be. And that can feel annoying to hear sometimes when you're not where you want to be. And it can feel like you're a million miles away from where you want to be. And maybe it feels like you keep getting yourself in the same loop over and over again. And you're like, how am I not where I want to be yet? Like, how have we just not got there? What I want to say for you, no matter what's going on, is whatever is going on, let it, because the chaos itself is purpose-filled. There is so much data and insight in the chaos that we're experiencing. It has so many messages for us that can help us understand where we're trying to go. But the key is to not write it off or be so upset at it or wish it wasn't happening, because that's just going to elongate it and perpetuate the experience of the chaos more. The reason it feels chaotic is because the experience that we're having isn't matching our expectations. And that's us trying to be in control of our experience instead of letting go and releasing the how and trusting that there's a divine plan, a divine purpose, and there's something greater in charge here. So when you can see the chaos as purpose-filled, you can say, oh, okay, well, maybe there's some gratitude I can have for this because it is trying to get me to my next level. And maybe it's preparing me for something. I'm not necessarily supposed to be in this abundance receivership season yet. I'm meant to still be evolving and being put together, because you have to be I really believe you have to be a certain container size energetically to be able to hold the abundance that your next level self wants to give you. And if you internally haven't gotten to that container size yet where you can energetically hold something bigger than your current experience and reality, then it's not going to be able to come in. And so you're being prepared right now. This is why chaotic times often are filled with releasing, crying, shedding, anger, letting out tons and tons and tons of emotions, because that energy has to go somewhere because it's taking up space. You need to be cleared out. And then it takes a little bit longer because it's not just about the clearing out. We can't just walk around as these empty, big vessels all day. There's this art of integration within our nervous system, having a sense of safety and trust, and again, just being that person that can hold all that wants to come in. So it takes a process. It takes a lot of steps, and the 3D moves slower than our higher realm self. Our higher self's just chilling up there, just like, come on. And we're sitting here, it's so dense. I'm trying. Okay, where am I going with all this? Where I'm going with this is I'm really understanding that your mess is your message. We've all heard that a million times over, and it kind of sounds old at this point, but I never thought of it past emotions, thinking okay, so I'm having this weird emotional experience right now. And yeah, I'm sure there's a message in there, right? We go through things to learn things and gain lessons. So, through the painful experience I had, I can share a lesson with that, I'm sure. But the new way I'm looking at it, and what's giving me more gratitude for these deeper, more stuck places, the deepest resistance I've ever felt has been this year. Oh, the stickiest, most tough times, because I really just went cold turkey and I stopped asking coaches for help. I stopped getting any outside input on this journey. And I decided to start being my own empowered self, really moving through just listening to myself, tuning into my gut, building my intuition up so I could hear it louder, and just taking steps and trusting without any outside influence. And it's been the biggest test of patience. It has broken me more times than I can even count. I feel like I've come back from the freaking ashes every week. It's just whoa, okay, I'm back again. I died and then I'm back. It's exhausting. But when I understand that our mess is our message in the sense of our deep purpose, a deep sense of purpose that we can bring to this world is through going so far deep into our thickest shadows, places we never even thought we would go. There's purpose in there. That's where you're digging up the medicine that you're going to be gifting the world in whichever way is best for you to bring it to life. I'll give you some examples. I remember when I was going through corporate, like it's a disease. But when I was in corporate, I was in there for 8 years. I served 8 years. And the truth is, I knew I wanted to be done with corporate after year 2. I was like, I'm done with this shit. This is not for me. And of course now I run my own business, but I knew I was like, this is not it. There's something I'm not there's just something here that's not it. Because that inner turmoil was going on the whole time underneath the surface, as I was progressing and shifting companies and all the things, what was happening, I was starting to achieve the most success and financial abundance I'd ever had, but I was the most miserable. So I got myself to like the top that I'd ever been, but feeling the worst. And that was a place I dreaded getting to. I had a feeling it was coming, but I just kept elongating the process. I kept riding the ride, doing it to myself. But basically, I ended up leaving there. I don't want to say abruptly, I gave a month notice. When I left, I sold everything I owned. I moved across the country. I started a business. I started everything over, rebuilt my life. And it's like I couldn't have done that if I didn't go to the deep, dark depths of the contrast of just being so unhappy and sitting in my deep misery so much to the point where my body couldn't take it anymore. I started to physically react to my environment and I knew that I wasn't supposed to be there anymore. I sat in it for so long that eventually I couldn't take it anymore, and it ended up propelling me into a whole new life simply because the pain of where I was worse than the pain that I had had around the thoughts of moving into the unknown and changing my life. It felt actually liberating to think of, what if I just freaking put in my notice? Like, what if I just went for it? What would that be like? And I started shifting my fear to excitement. And then the excitement of the possibilities started to grow. And then I started taking action. I just couldn't have got there if the whole corporate ride was comfy, didn't take me to my depths and my knees at all in that journey. I'd probably still be there because the paycheck was comfy and all the things. But I feel like when you're meant for more in your life, I'm sure you resonate with this if you're watching this video. If you're made for more in your life, what's comfy isn't going to feel comfy for too long because your soul knows. Your soul is going to push you. And this is where I think eventually, and this is what I'm hoping to get to more in my life, is like, I don't think that life has to feel this insanely chaotic in order for us to change, but sometimes it does, because what you're being asked to help and shift and change the world with is not a simple thing. We're not in these like frilly dilly little times right now. There is consciousness shifts happening on this planet as we speak nonstop. We're jumping timelines, like we're quantum leaping left and right. Like, there is some big shifts. And so people that are going through chaotic times right now, I think it's actually more normal than we're leading on and realizing, but also it's just a sign that you're being asked to step into true leadership. I really believe. And leaders go first. Leaders are the ones that are trudging through and creating the trailblazers. You're not just walking a path that's already been made for you. You're literally bushwhacking the trail that you're walking through. So again, we just want to try to find some gratitude for these sticky times that are not easy. They're a sign that you have a lot to come in your life. You have a lot of exciting, big things to hold, but you have to be the person that can hold it first. So energetically, we got to do some sloughing. We got to kind of sometimes break your world a bit, because that's not the world that you're being called to live in anymore. I'm not going to lie. There are many times I wish that the journey had been easier. Like so many times I'm still like, listen, Lord, I don't want to learn anything today, but that's not my soul path, and that's not yours either if you're resonating with this. Another thing I want to touch on around being leveled up for more by the universe, because that's really what's going on here, is the mind chatter that can come up. And I will speak from personal experience. A big part of this journey for me for so many years has been this sense of feeling worthless in the world, because I couldn't seem to figure it out for a long time, how I was supposed to make impact in the world. But I felt like there was so much inside of me that was asking and begging to come out, but I just couldn't figure out what it was. And so I felt paralyzed more than I didn't. But I just want to share that you are not worthless. I'm hoping this is making you see that you are a very important person in this world. Like, we all are important, but if you're resonating with this message and this shit is happening to you and you're feeling like your world's like falling apart more than it's not, it's because you are a leader. There's a lot of you walking around right now that don't know you're a leader and are having a hard time understanding what's going on and feeling lesser than and feeling worthless, but not realizing that all of that is infiltration trying to hold you back from true greatness and your leadership abilities this lifetime. You have so much inside of you that is going to come out at the perfect time, but it will happen when you can embrace this time that you're in and see it as something that is building your strengths, your level up, your greatness. Because honestly, the deeper you go, like I said, the higher you can rise. And it can only be of equal value. Like the deeper you go, the higher you go. If you're only being given a little bit to dive into, well, you're only going to rise a little bit. Right? You're going to be tested more than not because you are being called to rise. There's lots of collective shifts happening and all these crazy things going on in the world right now energetically. So we need big energy people to step into these roles, but to step into the roles is a lot. Internally, it requires a deep sense of knowing you are worthy and knowing you are this leader and understanding that everything that makes you feel lesser than is just infiltration. You just have to understand that that's what's going on. You, my friend, you are a leader. And so you're feeling the heaviness of the world because you're a big player. You have a lot to do. You have a big mission. I know you can feel that on your heart. So not only are you enough, but you're more than enough. You are everything. Experience and accept deeply what's going on. Sit with it and feel it and try to experience some gratitude for the fact that it's just trying to level you up, but don't linger there longer than you have to and wear the identity that something's wrong with you or you're never going to figure it out. Because my unpopular opinion is that the more we go searching for healing, the more we perpetuate this idea that we need to be healed, when the truth is, yeah, we might have to release some stuff because not everything can come with us into our next identity, our next self, our next reality, but you are not broken. So stop thinking that you are. Start taking seriously what's shaking up in your world and seeing it as, oh, I actually am being prepared for something greater, and sooner than later it's going to happen, but everybody's timeline is different. For me, I'm just now starting to feel like I have a sense of where my gifts are taking me and what this is all forming and what all the pieces were for. But it's been 5 years in this thing. Like, it's been a 5-year journey. Meanwhile, I have tons of friends that are like year 1, year 2, when they started their business, boom, crazy growth. One of my mentors right now, she's a 20-year-old badass, skipped college because she was already awake enough to realize she didn't need that, and I'm in my 30s being like, hey, teach me your ways, and so it's just like, humble yourself, meet yourself where you're at, know that it's exactly where you're supposed to be. Don't overthink that. Find the gratitude for everything that's brought you to this moment, and just know that you are one of one. There's nobody else that has ever been you, is ever going to be you. So have some pride in that. Damn it, your time is coming, my love.